Easy now, people. A while back, I put up a video saying that my population of cherry shrimp were doing really, really well in a community tank, and that was for a couple of reasons that it was going so well, I felt. So I thought I'd better explain myself then, huh? And this all started a wee while back when I was researching it because I wanted to know if cherry shrimp would work well in a community tank or not. I thought they'd look really good because I use a lot of plants, the red popping on the green, and I thought they might be useful in terms of a clean-up crew at the bottom of the tank as well. However, everything I read and everything I saw on YouTube suggested the only thing you should try with them is a Galaxy Rasbora. I'm assuming because they're so small that they can't hurt the shrimp, people assume. But I've done it. I've got them in a community tank. They're thriving. So I'm going to go through why and how I think that is happening. Now, I'm not saying that if you go through these steps it will happen well for you, and I'm not saying if you just get cherry shrimp and throw a load in a community tank they won't survive, because I don't know. I haven't done it. Right, let's go in then. The first thing is giving them loads of cover, which I planned from the beginning. You'll see in the background there's plenty of caves and places to hide. I don't really expect them to use the caves, they were for the plecos really. There's plenty of crevices between them and places under them that they can get away from it all. So that was a part of the plan. And that goes especially for the bogwood. Just by the way it's shaped, it offers crevices and hiding spots. So it's really, really good for them. They can hide between it, they can hide under it, they can hide in it if it's hollow, because you do get plenty of bogwood that's got hollowed out pieces. And of course you can attach plants to it. The shrimp will clean the plants, which is good for the plant and good for your shrimp. And without doubt, a heavily planted aquarium is the best thing for your shrimp. Not only for grazing on, but also for cover. Obviously, when they grow, they molt, and then it takes a while for their exoskeleton to solidify. So they need a place of refuge that's not going to get any attention while it hardens for them. Sorry about my water there. I always put in a bit of food before filming and some of it floats about. Anyway, that's one of the reasons that I'm a big fan of dwarf sedge. Not only does it grow thick enough so it makes a nice carpet, it grows big enough to leave space inside it and underneath it for not just shrimp but for fry as well to get away from unwanted attention. There's plenty of space to move between the leaves and underneath the plant. It gives really, really good cover. Most of your mosses are good for that as well, your Java moss particularly, and shrimp just love a bit of Java moss. The next thing I did, relatively simple, I introduced the shrimp to the tank first and I let them establish themselves before adding any of the fish. I mean, it was a good few weeks I let them settle in. I think they were even maybe having babies before I added any fish. The next point is tank mates. Now, obviously there's limits to this. If you throw them in a tank full of Oscar, say goodbye to your shrimp, alright? But the stuff I read led me to believe everything's going to eat your shrimplets, your tetra, just about anything. It's going to be a bloodbath, don't do it. However, these guys have been in with tetra, minnow, rams, bristlenose. I've even had them in with discus, believe it or not. And rather than the discus eating the shrimp seemed to be grazing on the slime cover on the discus, which really bothered me, so I separated them actually. The only one I was really worried about though in this tank was the dwarf gourami, who I thought might pay him a little bit of attention, but doesn't. And another point I suppose I better make is all of the fish, when they were introduced as juveniles. I can't swear it made a difference, but I like to think it did. The other predator folks seem to have concerns keeping with cherry shrimp was your assassin snail, and I've got a load of them. But I'll tell you this, I've seen cherry shrimp cleaning assassin snails. I've seen cherry shrimp riding around on the top of assassin snails, but I've never seen an assassin snail gobbling a cherry shrimp up. Never. I think it's like the bristlenose rumour. I don't think any of them eat cherry shrimp. Don't get me wrong, every fish has got its own personality, the same as we do, right? Some are just nice, sweet, chilled out wee guys. Others are pure horrors that harass everything they see. But I haven't had any problems in this tank with these fish. So all I can do is recommend that you try it. However, like I say, I don't want to guarantee it's going to work for you. I suppose anything, if it's hungry enough, is going to try and eat anything else. And that brings me on to my next point, really, because I do keep everybody in here well fed. And that brings up its own problems because obviously, the more you're feeding, the more you need to look after your water, keep up with your water changes, do your tank maintenance more often. But if you keep everybody well fed, if everybody's got full bellies, hopefully they don't start looking at each other like they're a tasty snack. And I don't mind the extra work, to be honest with you. More excuse to spend some time with my tanks. And when you're doing that is normally when you notice more stuff that's going on in your tank as well, for that matter. So there you go. They're the reasons that I think my shrimp population did so well in the community aquarium. Could work really well for you, might not work for you, might have worked anyway, I don't know. What I do know is I think these points contributed to it going so well in this instance. I kind of feel like I fulfilled an obligation by answering these points because I raised the points in a previous video and hadn't really got around to it, so I'm pleased with that. There's the other reason stuff floats about in my water too. Look, that's rapashi there. They love it, so they do, but it does kind of get into your water column sometimes. I hope the video is of some use to you. I'd be interested to hear what does work well for you guys and what doesn't work so well. And we'll all help each other out, eh? Right. Later, 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 later.